Next on Newsmax Prime, and now there are 12. Donald Trump enters the GOP presidential race, bringing the number of candidates to an even dozen. But can the Donald trump the Republican field? We'll talk about it. Then, a pistol-packing president. Novelist Brad Meltzer discovered an interesting fact while writing his new fictional thriller, and he'll share it with us. And you can forget the loneliness of the long-distance runner. I'll tell you all about the mayhem that meets a moderator. Newsmax Prime starts now. Good evening and welcome to this Tuesday edition of Newsmax Prime. I'm J.D. Hayworth. Of prime interest tonight, we're going to make our country great again. Those words from Donald Trump as he makes that long-anticipated announcement earlier today, becoming the 12th Republican candidate running for president. In his speech, Trump takes aim at China, our current foreign policy, and Obamacare. Take a listen.
We used to have victories, but we don't have them. When was the last time anybody saw us beating, let's say, China in a trade deal? They kill us. I beat China all the time. All the time. When did we beat Japan at anything? They send their cars over by the millions. And what do? When was the last time you saw a Chevrolet in Tokyo? It doesn't exist, folks. They beat us all the time. When do we beat Mexico at the border? They're laughing at us, at our stupidity. And now they're beating us economically. They are not our friend, believe me. But they're killing us economically. The U.S. has become a dumping ground for everybody else's problems. Thank you. When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're not sending you. They're not sending you. They're sending people that have lots of problems, and they're bringing those problems with us. They're bringing drugs. They're bringing crime. They're rapists. And some, I assume, are good people. But I speak to border guards, and they tell us what we're getting. And it only makes common sense. It only makes common sense. They're sending us not the right people. It's coming from more than Mexico. It's coming from all over South and Latin America, and it's coming probably from the Middle East. But we don't know, because we have no protection, and we have no competence. We don't know what's happening. And it's got to stop, and it's got to stop fast. Islamic terrorism is eating up large portions of the Middle East. They become rich. I'm in competition with them. They just built a hotel in Syria. Can you believe this? They built a hotel. When I have to build a hotel, I pay interest. They don't have to pay interest because they took the oil that when we left Iraq, I said we should have taken. So now ISIS has the oil. And what they don't have, Iran has. And in and I will tell you this, and I said it very strongly, years ago, I said, and I love the military, and I want to have the strongest military that we've ever had, and we need it more now than ever, but I said, don't hit Iraq, because you're going to totally destabilize the Middle East. Iran is going to take over the Middle East. Iran and somebody else will get the oil. And it turned out that Iran is now taking over Iraq. Think of it. Iran is taking over Iraq. Last quarter, it was just announced, our gross domestic product, a sign of strength, right? But not for us. It was below zero. Who ever heard of this? It's never below zero. Our labor participation rate was the worst since 1978. But think of it, GDP below zero. horrible labor participation rate. And our real unemployment is anywhere from 18 to 20%. Don't believe the 5.6. Don't believe it. That's right. A lot of people up there can't get jobs. They can't get jobs because there are no jobs, because China has our jobs and Mexico has our jobs. They all have our jobs. But the real number is anywhere from 18 to 19 and maybe even 21%, and nobody talks about it. Our enemies are getting stronger and stronger by the day, and we as a country are getting weaker. Even our nuclear arsenal doesn't work. It came out recently. They have equipment that's 30 years old. They don't even know if it worked. And I thought it was horrible when it was broadcast on television, because boy, does that send signals to Putin and all of the other people that look at us and they say, that is a group of people and that is a nation that truly has no clue. They don't know what they're doing. And remember the $5 billion website. $5 billion we spent on a website. And to this day, it doesn't work. A $5 billion website. I have so many websites. I have them all over the place. I hire people. They do a website. It costs me $3. $5 billion website. Obamacare kicks in 2016. Really big league. It is going to be amazingly destructive. Doctors are quitting. I have a friend who's a doctor, and he said to me the other day, Donald, I never saw anything like it. I have more accountants than I have nurses. It's a disaster. My patients are beside themselves. They had a plan that was good. They have no plan now. We have to repeal Obamacare, and it can be replaced. And it can be replaced with something much better for everybody. Let it be for everybody, but much better and much less expensive for people and for the government. And we can do it. You know, all of my life I've heard that a truly successful person, a really, really successful person, and even modestly successful, cannot run for public office. Just can't happen. And yet that's the kind of mindset that you need to make this country great again. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am officially running for President of the United States, and we are going to make our country great again.
So that's the Trump announcement. Miranda Kahn joins me here on the anchor desk. We're going to talk more about Mr. Trump and his political debut, and we're going to do it with Liz Peek, who joins us from New York, where she Skypes in, and also joining us, David Goodfriend, who was the former Deputy Staff Secretary to President Bill Clinton. Thanks to you both for your time. Liz, to you first. What's your take on Donald's announcement that he is running for president?
Look, when you started talking about the 12 entrants, I was thinking, okay, I know who Happy is and Grumpy. Maybe this is Dopey. With all due respect, I think Donald Trump actually is going to tap into a lot of anger in the country. Anger about, in fact, how most Americans perceive that we have been on the short end of trade deals, that we haven't been able very successfully to counter Russia's aggression, China's aggression, et cetera. I mean, look, he's all over the place in terms of policy and kind of pronouncements and so forth. But there's a lot of stuff he talks about that really kind of resonates with people. Americans want to have a strong country. You know, I was starting to write a column today about, look, we're under attack from cyber thieves in China and from ISIS. And what are we doing? We're shrinking our military. We're about to give.
And what we're going to have to do right now, Liz, is step aside. Miranda will have a question for David. We'll have more on this when we come right back. Also, a programming note. You'll be able to hear the Trump announcement in its entirety tonight, 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Pacific, on a special edition of Newsmax Prime, and we're coming back more with this edition right after this timeout.